I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to Ride Along Live for today. It is Tuesday. As you come and go ahead and share the thing, you see this program today, this one today, it's a history lesson, unlike no other, guys. We are going to be talking about slavery and a history lesson that you never learned in school. Yeah, you never learned this in school. You're going to learn it today. We got some information for you guys, first-hand information, and we're going to be talking about the reparation. But we also want to give you the opportunity to chime in as well, because this week, just this week, guys, we had a ceremony right in Grenada that the acceptance of an apology and a payment and acceptance of an apology for slavery by one particular family, the Trevelyan family. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about it. A lot of people are still upset about it. People are saying, well, some people are saying that's the start of something, right? The beginning of something. A few in the Ras Dakarie community attended the event, and some protested outside. There are mixed emotions about what transpired here. So this is where you come in, guys. Today we have Ras Dakarie, and he is a historian. He is all of the above. He's an historian. He is going to tell us about reparation, what reparation mean, and what this event meant to him. So a lot to digest, a lot to discuss. So everybody go ahead and share the program. I must also say, guys, that Facebook have some kind of problems. I don't know what's wrong with Facebook. Facebook has not been sending out notification lately. So it's very hard, very difficult for some people to watch the program when they don't get notification. So that's why I want you guys to help us out. Probably this will last for another week. I don't know. There's some kind of shadow blocking going on. So what I want you guys to do is share the program for me. Veronica, Philip, Adana, Lyndon, everybody share the program. I've actually programmed a few times. I'm gonna do the same in a few groups as well, because you shouldn't be watching nothing else right now. I mean, if you know someone that's someplace else watching something else, they need to stop that. Come right here and learn about this thing that you never learned in school. participate in this conversation. Trust me, it will change your life. Good evening to you, Gordon Boney. How you doing, my friend? Thank you so much. And always thanks for being a supporter of this platform over the years. We really appreciate you. Glenda, thank you so much. Share, guys. Share. Thank you so much, Glenda, for sharing. Good night to you, Hetz, George. We appreciate you. Nice. Everybody share. As soon as you share, I want you to say, I share. Adana, big up yourself. Thank you so much. As soon as you share, I want you to say, I share. It's important. It is very important. Thank you so much. Philippa, I see you as well. Let me share to another group. All right, guys. Everybody else who didn't catch from here, they will have to watch it from the beginning all over again, all right? But guys, seriously, we're having a problem with Facebook and this notification. It's really been a problem over this past couple of weeks. It's very challenging getting the word out to some of our viewers when they have not been getting any notification. So when the program started, right, you guys saw this clip playing in the foreground, right? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a actual video that I captured while I was in the Cape Coast in Ghana, right? This actually, while I stood on the castle, the slave castle, as it was called, still called, and looked out at this particular site. Now, this site is, you could say, the part of where the ships was sent out through and into the ocean, right? So this is very historical content. And this is not long ago thing. This was just a few months ago. So this is how it looks right now. This is Cape Coast over there in Ghana. Take a look, guys. You probably want to take a screenshot of it because it's a very historical shot. A lot of people have not got a chance to witness this particular site, but you're getting a chance to see it right now. It's very historic, and it looks like ancient times, but it's really not. It is now. It is right now. And this is how it looks of the Cape Coast of Ghana. Take a look, because your ancestors actually saw the same passage right before they made their way out. They were forced out, right? Good content, guys. I really had a good time there in Ghana. All right, so let's bring on my friend, the historian himself, Ras Dakarie. Is it Ras Dakarie or Ras Dakarie? Make sure I'm saying it. Okay, Dakarie. Okay, all right, my brother. Listen, Ras, I thank you so much for taking the time out to give us this history lesson on why reparation, or what is reparation, and history of our ancestors, right? I was showing this clip earlier of the Cape Coast there and showing the outlook of it. How historic is this site from your recollection of history?
First of all, Brother John, let me say thank you very much for having me on your platform. And I want to say a pleasant good evening to all your audience. And it's a pleasure for me to speak to my fellow descendants of slaves. So when I see that screenshot, that's one of the sites, my brother, but they have a few more sites.
Yes.
It's not as popular. You know, but we were robbed from the east, the west, and the south.
Yes.
We were robbed all over. You know what I'm saying? The Belgium took a piece, the Germans took a piece, the French, the British. You know, I mean, it was like a field day, and it's still a field day. You know, and it's gut-wrenching. And, you know, I really want to compliment you for enlightening our people, because, you know, we are confused, we are miseducated, and we are dejected people. Because when you defile one's humanity, and you take away the culture, a man without his culture is like a ship without a rudder. it's going to just drift in the ocean. And we are drifting right now as a people. So thank you very much for enlightening your populace and, you know, all your audience. And I hope they really share this, because this is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, the history of our ancestors have really never been taught to us, really. I remember going to school in St. Andrew's Anglican Primary School when I learned of the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I know about all of Christopher Columbus ships. I know about all of you know, Christopher Columbus and the time he came, 1498. All of this stuff was taught to us in school. But what was never really taught to us is our ancestors and the slave trade that brought us into this region, right? Why was these critical, crucial, important information not transmitted to us as kids in school?
It's very simple. You know, you cannot take someone from the habitat and bring them in a strange habitat, right? Take away their language, take away their culture, take away the, you know, strip them of the spiritualism, force them to work, force them to reproduce, to create slaves. You know, I mean, you do all of that. Then again, and next thing, you don't want them to read. You didn't even want them to communicate. So what they did, they make sure they scatter us all about. So your brother could have been, you know, in Timbuktu, and you could have been in Alaska, and they move us around so we can't communicate. But I must say this: if our people was not a great people and is not a great people, in no way in the world we could have survived that atrocity. So that's a long answer. The short answer is that they didn't want, first of all, they reversed the history on us. And it's very important because they set up a whole psychological mechanism to keep recycling. That's why today, like yesterday, a young police officer, a young sister, you know, she said, well, I don't want to read these books, and I don't want to read this because, you know, this and that, and you know, I need to know. And this, I say, sister, you need to go do your research, because if you don't read, you know, and you know, they're so, listen, man, they're so condescending, Brother Joe, is that they say, if you want to hide something from our people, put it in a book.
Put it in a book, yeah. You're right. True. True.
So there you have it.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of our population is ignorant to the history of slavery. I was so happy that I took my son to Ghana, and his mind was just blown. Like he couldn't believe that he is here and he's experiencing the history and things that he never learned in school, and the little that he looked up on Facebook and information that he got, he was actually living the history of his ancestors. And I think every person should at least visit Africa at least one time in their life. But the funny thing is about that visit, we were educated in a way, I believe, to not want to go back to Africa. Right? It seems as if the education or the miseducation was to deter us from ever going back there, because we was always taught the worst thing about Africa, the worst diseases, the worst of Africa. Was that a part of the miseducation of our population?
Well, you see, that is why Tarzan was so popular, and that is why Hollywood was so popular, because it's a conditioning. You know, and it is very noble of you to bring your son, because it's the young warriors that we need. A few of them, believe me, just a few of them, because they say many are called, few are chosen. right?
Yes.
My early recollection was my mother's going to Trinidad and getting two of Dr. Eric Williams' book, one of them Capitalism and Slavery, that I read preparing for GC and PBC. And from that time, I start questioning, because we did geography. We know about all the contours of Europe. We could have probably pinpoint every mountain, every river in Europe. Nothing about Africa, nothing about Latin America, nothing about Central America, nothing at all. Only Europe. You see, so we knew everything. You know, Columbus, Francis Drake, and all that was glorified. Just imagine you're glorifying pirates and buccaneers. You see, another misnomer is the whole thing about quote unquote indigenous people. Like if it's some different people, you know, the word I was trying to get is Garifuna.
Garifuna.
My ex-wife is a Garifuna.
Right.
Arab.
Right.
From Central America.
Right. Yeah.
Same complexion. Everything. Yeah. So it wasn't this Hollywood fiction and things like that. Because let me tell you something, man. These guys are, for lack of a better expression, they are thieves. Okay? They literally thieves and criminals. I mean, and it's by nature. You see, what our people need to know is that our people are matriarchal, meaning very communal, very social. We live in communities. Whereas the other side, patriarchal. They live in caves. Everything is the male chauvinist and very aggressive.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Our people was aggressive because we had navigation, we had physics. We didn't build the Sphinx by not knowing physics and math. Listen, what they didn't teach us is that we had alchemy, medicine, we had medical equipment to perform some of the most sophisticated procedures.
Yes.
All that. As a matter of fact, Brother George, as a matter of fact, we had organized cities with streets and everything before we came in contact with these cantankerous folks. We went, listen, because they couldn't sail, because if they could have sailed across the Mediterranean or across, you know, they would have come through by us. But remember, they believed that the world was flat. That's how dumb these folks was. So all the navigation was done by us. We went and get them. Not only that, they failed to tell us that the captains and navigators on the same ships with Columbus were people from Africa, our ancestors. They didn't know how to say. They didn't know nothing about the current system to sail from Africa to the Caribbean and places like Brazil and things like that. Because if you don't know what you're doing and follow the current properly, you're gone.
Yeah.
That's what you talk about the Bermuda Triangle and all them things. That sea could be deadly. And up to today, the tourist ships, they don't go far from the shore. They stay on the shoreline, because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how the 5 or 6 different current patterns, you're lost at sea.
Yes.
And we knew that.
Yes.
So we need to know, brother.
Another thing that, for historical recollection purposes, I want everyone to understand, and which is one of the saddest thing that I learned while I was in Ghana. Our identity was taken, and because of the way our identity was taken, there is no way that we could actually reconnect to find out what tribe we belong to. We was dispersed in a certain kind of way. So even if we go back now, it's hard to really put us back to exactly where we came from. It's so diverse. We was given names like George and Frederick and Jackson and all of these European names, and we glorify those names. And these names and these people are glorification of our ancestors, of the rapists of our ancestors. But this is glorified by us. And this is one of the saddest things I learned on my trip to Ghana. You know, this is the dungeon that we went through, and I want to show people this really quickly because this was eye-opening for me going through this dungeon, right? And you could still smell. It seemed like you could still smell the stench of your ancestors while you're there. And this is one of the dungeon where over 1,000 people was imprisoned in this little dungeon, still messy and still smell like crap to me. That's how it felt while I was in there. Again, I have a full documentary on this, guys. I'm gonna put it up for you guys to take a look. But I want you to comment on the loss of our identity, right? And the glorification of our name that we now preach and honor, our last name, which is not really us. It's not us.
My brother, let me tell you something. As long as they leave us alone, we will find our way back home. Africa never had borders. Those borders were created by the colonizers. We didn't have any borders. We lived, that's why I say our people were a communal and a social people.
Right.
You understand? We weren't interested in conquering. Because if we was interested in conquering, Ethiopia would have gone and conquer Egypt, and Egypt would have gone and conquer Sudan, and Sudan would have gone and conquer, you know, we didn't have that, brother. The only fight we had is when we brought these foreigners on our land, and they became ungrateful. That's why a popular reggae artist say, be careful with Magadog. Magadog will bite you. And that what happened to us. Is the same dog that bites us, that biting us today. Is the same dog. So to talk about us fine, brethren, let me tell you something. Africa is awakening. Okay? You have a few economic blocks. Look those guys in the French-speaking place. They run France out of there. They run Belgium out. You understand? They're running these guys out. They're taking us out, but that's warfare.
Yeah.
Some to die for some to live. So there's no problem with that. But if you notice, they have some African leaders that have backbone, and they come in because, you know, they cannot listen. If these guys, the whole thing about it is to eliminate us, take everything. But then again, now, they can't do that. Because look at it, the more they kill us, the more we multiply. It's nature. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not bothered about which geographical place, because once we get to the motherland, spiritually, physically, economically, instinctively, we're going to know what to do. Because you see, consciousness, conscious people, will communicate.
Yeah.
You see, consciousness is like an alarm clock. People wake up at different times. So, you know, I kind of, you know, I don't rush people to become conscious, you know, and there's no, well, I'm more conscious than you and this and all them kind of foolishness. That is sideshow. The main thing this year, we got nations to build.
Yes.
You see, because Africa is a bunch of nations.
Yeah. And
we have nations to build. So what they have to do is to give us the funds, because the funds was ill-gotten. And let me just bring it very colloquial. In America, where I spent most of my adult life. When the authorities hold on to a drug dealer, right? If he can show legitimate means of accumulating his wealth, what they do, they confiscate it.
You're right.
Right?
Right.
So these folks, the wealth that they're striving on and the so-called generational wealth was stolen property.
Right. Well,
So it's supposed to be
I want to gradually get to that. I want to gradually get to that. I want to gradually get to that because we still don't quite understand from a
Orange.
hold on. Let me.
You have a
I think we
caller.
got a caller. I think we got a caller. Let me take that call and then I'll come back to the question. Caller, you live right along.
Yes, but music.
Hello.
Yes, hello, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You live on air. This is right along live.
Yeah, I'm on live, but I'm here. I don't want to cut up the man talk.
Oh.
I want to act.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, because I don't want to forget what I was talking about there, because I'm in New York. What I want to ask, you're going to ask the question, right? Why is it that in South Africa, I don't want to say the wrong word, a white man there that have a part of South Africa that taking over right now and controlling like literally where black people can't even go in there. That's one. And he just finished said something about the like how we all were stolen and stuff. If y'all remember in King Kong, that same movie with Tarzan, that same movie King Kong. If you notice, that's why, because I always used to be wondering as a young child that if you notice, they all came in a boat and they all came and they play like they're nice with the people and ting, and then they saw what happened. It made it look like whatever they with King Kong, but at the end of the day, it was a bunch of slavery stuff and they all got killed. If you look at it real good,
right?
And yeah, but it's too many things I wanted to ask. But those main two things there, that is a South African, as a white man over there in Africa. I guess he's African. I don't know. He take over and not even Africans can even go on that path. And I find that's weird that Ghana is going through that and all these other places in Africa are going through that, and people and all these, like he said, the Europeans or whoever these people are taking over. I don't get it. I'm really lost with that, and I want to come and help. Eventually, I come in to help.
Yeah,
but I can't help right now. But I'm coming for you soon.
Right.
When that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. The truth about it, a lot of people are coming into Africa, and that is unfair. The question I wanted to touch on as well is how, when you say that they took our wealth, I want you to explain in colloquial terms what you mean by they took our wealth.
Okay, now these folks committed, according to the United Nations Charter, they committed genocide, right?
Right.
And if you want to break down the genocide, you talk about human trafficking, you talk about pedophile, you talk about human harvesting, you're talking about kidnapping, you're talking about forced labor, among other things. All these are crimes against humanity.
Right. But
let me just say the last thing. They plunder our resources.
Yes.
Because Africa is self-sufficient.
True.
And they still plundering the resources. So when the brother talk about this so-called doing this and doing that, yes. But what I'm saying, what we need to do is to build awareness so the young generations could start understanding that they are a mighty race. We just see ourselves as slaves and descendants of slaves. No, we are descendants of the mother and the cradle of civilization. So all what you see happening in the world, all the religion, all that came from our spirituality. Everything was born in our motherland. So that's what I'm saying. The whole history was reversed, and it's like illusion. You see what I'm saying? So it can't last because listen, our people lived with nature. These other folks, they live against nature. Look what's going on. Let's just fast forward to today. The two of them out there in the caucus, they have a disagreement. Two cousins or two brother children, right? They ain't talking and they're telling us to wait is a good start. Okay, just cool yourself. Your time coming, this and that. How these guys settling the difference? Bomb flying all over the place. They even talking nuclear war. That's what these people know. These people only know war. You think, and listen to me. Another thing what people don't understand about Africa and the slave trade. The people that was stolen from Africa were young people.
Mostly, yes.
Because only the young people could have made that middle passage.
Yes.
Young people. Even in America, the indigenous people they met here and in the Caribbean were young people. You see what I'm saying? So it was child labor. So it's a whole lot of list of crime. And all these things have a cost. That's why they say reparation is restoration, repair, and restitution. That's when a judge charge you for criminal and felon. Is that the restitution you got to pay?
Right.
So one way or the other, they have to pay. If but maybe, and we ain't begging for that, is ours.
Right. No, the fact, the way in which these funds or these resources was taken. I mean, Africans was taken from Africa, from Cape Coast and other parts of Africa, and brought into this region in the Caribbean and other places. These slaves were worked on the plantation. They were auctioned off like animals, like goats and pigs. They were sold for nothing. That's what they determined black people to be, like worse than animal. And these black people worked on the plantation, and these monies or resources, was then taken and then sent back to Europe and those other countries. So the resources was the hard work and labor was sucked out from the slave to develop other countries like England and many other countries. But our ancestors was never compensated for that. And these resources is what is responsible for building these first world countries. Am I getting the chronology of it right? These resources, because I look at
listen, I mean, you live in Brooklyn. I used to live in Brooklyn, Brother George, right? A thief in no scruple. Yeah? When a man, because you have home invasion, you have the stick-up man, you have the man go break open your apartment, the man go hijack your car, all kind. That's what the same thing these people were doing. Nothing changed. They might put on a jacket and a tie, and they might talk nice and rah and all that. But that's who they are, and that's what they did. So when I talk about the resources, they stole resources from the motherland. They stole resources from the Central America, from North America, from South America, the Caribbean. All where they go, they vandalize. That's what they are. They are terrorists.
Yes.
Plain and simple, they are terroristic people.
Right.
And how you deal with them, you got to put them on a heavy manners, veteran.
Right. So we're saying that a lot of these resources were then used to develop empires and to develop countries outside of the Caribbean region. Hence the reason why people might say they are big castles and billion dollars castles and big development in those countries when our ancestors really worked for it. So it comes down to the point where we're talking about the reparation. Now, just a few days ago, we had an event in Grenada that was brought to celebrate the return of this family who came back to donate £100,000 and make a public apology. I want to play a piece of that clip, and then I want you to respond on your reaction to that particular event that took place. Let's play back that clip. Take a look.
I now invite Laura Trevelyan to the podium. Laura has been a journalist for the last 30 years, and she is here with her family to make a formal apology on behalf of her family. Laura.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you to everyone who's here today. Thank you to Nigel for that incredible poem, which I don't really know how to follow that. I want to thank the Prime Minister of Grenada and the Cabinet for coming here today. I want to thank the next generation, the school children who are here today. And I'm so sorry about our painful shared past and for the role of our ancestors in it. And I just want to say how incredibly moved and horrified all of us have been by the exhibit at the back, which shows the names of the enslaved at the time that compensation was paid to our families. It's the names of the enslaved on those estates in which our family had shares. And to see the names and the ages and to think of the horror that those people endured in the not so distant past and to think of our role in it is shameful. And that is why we're here today. I want to thank Sahiri Beckles for his...
So that was pretty much the apology that was made there. Do you accept the Trevelyan, Laura and her family apology and the donation of $100,000? What's your take?
Well, let me just say this. You know, I'm a person, I believe in substance over symbolism and platitudes. You understand? Let me just jump back at it. Mm-hmm. We have the situation in England, the Windrush situation, okay?
Yes.
Many families from the Caribbean were encouraged to come to England to work about 40, 45 years ago.
Yes.
They went up there with the steamship, worked their back off, another form of slavery. But this one was now imperialism at works, okay? Now you had some children came up with their families. They were 8 years old, 7 years old, all that, okay? Recently, all of a sudden they set up policy that these people, they're not resident, they're not citizens of the UK. And they terrorize these people. And some of them got heart attack because they didn't even know anybody back in the islands, which they wanted to deport them after they work 40, 45 years in the UK. That's the kind of people you're dealing with. Where were the Trevelyan with the monies that they're talking about? They got paid for the loss of the slaves, you know, and the equivalent was in the today money would be millions, close to billions, you know, all of them. As a matter of fact, only recently England finished payout reparation to these plantation owners. Only recently. You see, why they didn't, they have all this money, all this generational wealth, okay? Because they are aristocrats, you know. They are aristocrats. Why they didn't get some legal defense to help these poor people that they feel so sorry about this and that, and it's the same as selling the slaves. So you see the hypocrisy in it. Let me tell you another thing that really galled me with the audacity of these folks. They came down to Grenada. Remember, she's a journalist with BBC. BBC, a British company, that get funding from the British government. Okay?
Yeah.
No, she's a journalist. Okay? She come to Grenada to make a puppy show and do a documentary. Okay? Now, as far as I know, if you have a documentary, somebody had to own the copyright on the documentary. Now, if the documentary have to be used, say like they have you have a cable channel, right? You're because you have ads on your platform. So if they send that documentary to you, you have to pay them a licensing fee. And not only that, PRS in England collecting royalties. So they're collecting licensing fee and royalties from the journal. What Grenada getting out of it? The £100,000 is a joke. And listen to the fallacy of this thing. You have the Knights of the Round Table and a couple of these what they call these pacifists and apologists saying now that they want to take the money to Jamaica. The plantations was in Grenada, you know, but they want to take it to Jamaica to do reparation studies. Now, brother, what reparation studies about? The history is there.
But they did say that the £100,000. They did say that the £100,000, and let me just make this clarification right here. It was £100,000. I saw someone made. Yeah, it wasn't £100 million. It was £100,000.
No, £100,000. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to go for reparation research. What kind of a?
But did they say that? Did they say that the money could be
play condescending? Huh?
Right. Didn't they say that the monies could be used in
what
Grenada?
What is it?
Didn't they say that the monies could be used in Grenada for whatever purpose?
Listen, they wishy-washy with this thing. They wishy-washy with this thing. Eh? Every time you hear a news item about that money, it's different. It come like a basketball. It going in this hoop, it going in that hoop, it passed to this part, it passed to this one, all over. You understand? The last thing I hear is that they're going to make up their mind what they're going to do with it. Brethren, that is what they call tomfoolery to the max. And I implore Grenadians, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Because that's what Jim Jones gave them people in Guyana, and look what happened to them.
Right.
Don't drink it. It's poison. Plain and simple.
Let me ask you this, because people are saying, okay,
I owe no apology.
Let me ask you this. People are saying that at least the Trevelyan took the initial initiative to say, okay, well, they would offer this up as a start, right? The Trevelyan is not completely responsible, and that's what other popular opinions are. They're not completely responsible for slavery per se. Their family owned X amount of plantations. They benefited from it, and at this point, single-handedly, she could do $100,000 in the first instant. Isn't that somehow to be applauded and say, okay, well, at least you start, at least somebody start?
Brother, listen to me. From my experience, and I've been around a little time, right? I've been around a little time. You cannot trust these people, because if you want to take, just look at all the broken promises that have been done for centuries upon centuries on our people. Look at the broken promises. You understand? They're trying to just look at the documentary. The documentary is a commercial product. You see what people don't understand? This whole situation with slavery, it was a business, it was about politics, it was about religion.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was about all combined. So they're trying to cherry pick the Trevelyan family as opposed to the other family and this family. Listen, I ain't partaking in that. That is a side show. That is a side show. You understand? And it's all a show, because years ago, they got millions in settlement. What is 100,000 pounds compared to the million? Why? Listen, if they were genuine, if they were genuine, it's 40 of them that say they sign this letter. 40 of them. So it's a big family and might have much more than them. And they all rich off of the illegal thing. You know why 6 plantations, boss? And over 1,000 slaves? You know, you could equate that in finance?
Right.
If they're serious, listen to me, you know what I would have liked? If they say they would have built 2 hospitals, furnish it, and pay 5 years for the staff, and build about 3 factories, furnish it, and pay 5 years for the staff. You understand? And build 2 universities and about 10 primary schools, and furnish it and pay the staff for 5 years. That is a start. I will accept that. This 100,000 foolishness, that's just a gimmick. And whoever, listen to me, I have no problem with who want to accept that, you know. But you see, I represent my ancestors, and my ancestors is me. And I don't want that. That means nothing to me. That is tomfoolery, trickery. That's what they're good at. Because you know what happened? They're keeping us divided. And that is the whole goal of this thing, to keep us divided and keep us dumbed down, brethren.
Well, listen, it's no doubt, guys, and I want to make this clear, it's no doubt that slavery was very profitable. It was, in fact, a business. Slavery was a very profitable business to the slave owners. It's no doubt about it. It's also no doubt that a lot of empires and first world countries was built on the backs of slaves. There's no doubt about that. But here is the question that everyone is asking, because as you said earlier, if someone broke into your house and they thief your TV and they take your remote control and your bed, they cannot come back and tell you, well, I know I took your TV, your remote control, your bed and your fridge and everything, but I'll just give you back the remote. It's not on them to tell you what you're getting back. Once it's belonged to you, it belongs to you. But here is the assessment. I don't know if that assessment was done. What is the number that we are asking for? What is the quantitative? What is the figure? What is the number that we want from the slave owners? Did we ever assess that?
Listen, there's nothing to assess, brethren. There's nothing to assess. Let me tell you something. Whatever the black nations need, not just want, what they need to create their independence, it's about liberation, boss. You see, if you have religion, right, and the religion can't liberate you, then it's phony. If you have education and it can't liberate you, it's phony. You see what I'm saying? So let's just say Grenada, for instance. You know what I tell you? If these family was serious, let me tell you something. Let's just keep it with the 40 of them. Say it's 40 of them, right? Did they file for bankruptcy? Did they lose the money? The money, they have money creating interest. First of all, they falsified the figure that they got as slave owners because they thought people don't want to research. You understand? The quantum that is owed us as a people is in the trillion, and if they have figures past trillion, is that. So nothing is too much to give us, because what we want is total liberation, not this Mickey Mouse independence where we still have to bow down to the queen and the king and all this foolishness. Brethren, that's not to go.
Yeah, but that is a whole total other conversation. Someone is saying something on the live here. The person is saying, let me see if I could pull up exactly what the person said. They said something to the effect, black nations still have, okay, now, something to the effect that those people didn't have to give us anything. They really didn't have to give us back anything. The Trevelyan family, we should be thankful that they even offer 100,000 pounds. Your take. Are you there? Ras, are you there? Ras, are you hearing me? Okay. Are you hearing me? Hi, guys.
Brother, listen to me. that is the problem. I'm here. You hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. I'm hearing you. You hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Yes, I'm hearing you fine.
Go ahead.
You not hearing me? Well, it's not on your side because I'm hearing good.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was asking about the post that someone made. They say that.
No. Huh? I'm here.
I was asking.
You hearing me?
Hold on. I think that there is
okay. Brother, listen to me. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about the myth. This is what we're talking about the miseducation. That's why earlier in the conversation. Yes, that's what I'm answering to. That's what I'm answering to. That's what I'm answering to. I'm saying, this is what I was alluding to earlier, the miseducation. And that is why I said a people without a culture, that is a people without a roots, is a rudderless ship. So these people that are talking with this platitude and this gratitude is because they miseducation and they miseducated and they misinformed. You understand what I'm saying? These people didn't do us no favor. And again, when I talk about the documentary, they capitalize and they keep capitalizing because remember, their thing is about power and domination. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. These people ain't giving nothing. Let me tell you something. We have to take it because that's what they do. They take. They don't give nothing. It's all about business. And it's a shame that we have people even today have the audacity to say it's a start. Start of what? So tell me something. What Marcus Garvey was talking, Marcus Garvey was in 1900, early 1900. We're in 2023. What Marcus Garvey was talking about, what Dr. Eric Williams was talking about, what George Padmore was talking about. Let's come closer. What he was talking about? What start, brethren? This struggle continues. We fighting for liberation because we still brainwash and according to Brother Bob, we still suffering from mental slavery. That's why we feel so inferior because we see ourselves as slaves, hung by the neck and scarred by the back, and our women raped and all that thing. That's how we see ourselves. We see ourselves as a mighty people that could stand up. And the fact that we survive all of this and still here in the face. So let's get it right.
Yeah.
Let's get it right.
We're ready, Ras.
No apology, and I'm not accepting that foolishness. Come again. You see what I'm telling you? If you see us all the millions you have, and it's 40 of y'all, give us 3 hospitals, well-equipped hospital. Give us 3 universities. Give us 10 primary schools. Give us about 5 or 10 factories, all equipped, and pay for the workers and everything. Then you start talking. That is a start. Let's take a measly little one. That's an insult, brethren. I don't care who say what. It's an insult.
Okay, Ras, let's take a quick call. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call right now. Caller line, where are you calling us from?
Yes, Bridget, calling from London, England.
Hey, go ahead.
See?
Go ahead.
Hello, I like this reasoning here we have here.
Yes.
I really love it.
Yes.
And I would like to make a few points. Well, apart from the Bridget, I talk about the reparation and they give you some university and hospital and them kind of thing. I think we need to aim higher than that because some people are trying to put a figure on this reparation thing. I say, how we can put a figure on it? Who gonna get the money? How it gonna benefit us directly? I think what will be reasonable is for them to open up their economy and their resources to us African people in the diaspora, the Africans who born in the West. For example, we should be able to access their healthcare services, their education, everything that their people have access to. We should be able to access them things because not only did they take us from Africa and bring us across here, so a lot of us black people leave and come fighting in the militaries. See? And with the them try to kick you out. For example, a lot of these so much people come from the Caribbean and come fight war in England. And yet black people from the Caribbean can't come to England as them feel like. They might get kicked out. You have to get visa, forget a job or go to school and them kind of thing. So I think it will be fair as part of the reparation package to open their economy to us. We can go to school, benefit from university, healthcare and everything like that and work freely. I can't find that. See? And then come back now we talk about Africa. And you see, one of the biggest problems we black people have now, because me, a brother come earlier and talk about how some white people can't go to certain parts of Africa where black people can't go. Well, apart from the brainwashing and all them things, people go through educationally and all kind of way you put it. And one of the biggest problems we have now is religion, you know. Because most black people still wait for Jesus to come save them, you know. Black people don't want to save themselves. Black people are waiting for Jesus to come save them. Black people, I tell you, take them silver and gold, all them want of Jesus in them soul and a one set of foolishness. You know? So, and then we have a set of puppet, so-called sellout leaders. For example, a lot of people revere Nelson Mandela. The Nelson Mandela who them give we. Now the one who been rise up and been attack a whole heap of things and say I go nationalize the mines and the banks. Because by the time Nelson come out of prison, when he say he gonna nationalize mines and Margaret Thatcher and them put him for sit down and say, where you talk about? You can't do them things. He was changed.
Right.
But them tell them, they give we Nelson Mandela as a hero and Nelson come out and vilify his wife, divorce his wife and them have peace and reconciliation and all kind of thing and come and talk one sort of thing. And then they never teach us our leaders like Thomas Sankara. You understand, from Burkina Faso, who teaches people sufficiency, the one who they get his friend, Blaise Compaoré, to kill him. Right? And then they never teach our leaders like Patrice Lumumba and Samora Machel from that never teach about them man they who are actually doing things for their people.
Yeah.
So it's like we get brainwashed.
Yeah.
And we never understand what's going on. You know? And back when this reparation thing is like, for example, them talk about Hitler killed 10 million Jews. Well, Bridget, Leopold of Belgium killed many more millions of Africans in the Congo. Right? Chop off them and all kind of thing when them can't meet them quota, forget the rubber and all them things. And look how them use Africa and black people, labor, for build up their economies in Europe. And a lot of black people are ignorant to these things. And them don't go on. So when I want like me and other people come and talk, them tell me if we shut up, we make trouble.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah.
this is one of the biggest problems we have, man. We need to re-educate ourselves. And me like this reason so much. If you give me a chance, we will step here and talk one sort of thing. So me will leave it here for now, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Respect.
Thank you so much for your input. It's true about the brainwash. The brainwash, the miseducation, it was a means to divide and conquer. It's very, very evident. I witnessed it myself while I was in Ghana. Divide and conquer was the name of the game in slavery, because it make a lot of people, us, afraid to even go back to Africa. We don't want to go back because we're scared of Africa, from what we was taught. Let's take this one last call, and then I'll come back to you to respond to that, Ras. Caller live, where are you calling us from?
Hello, I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey,
I've been listening to your program, and Ras has some very important points, but I would like to find out some basic things, because some of the things Ras is saying, I would like to know, what is his philosophy with regard to the question of crime and justice in the systems that we have existing today throughout the world? So I steal, I get arrested, I'm brought to the court, and I'm given a sentence. Well, what is his philosophy in that regard? Should my son or my daughter be responsible for my stealing, or for my killing, or for my crime? You know?
Right.
I don't know if he can answer it.
Right.
You know, what sort of justice system does he believe in?
Yeah.
You see?
Let's take this one first. Hold on, Carl. Let's take this one first. Let's take this one first, because it's a very important point. But it's a different point, I believe. I'll have the Ras respond. But if your son or your daughter commit a crime, they would stand the consequences. But if your son or your daughter went into a bank and robbed that bank and took that money and dropped it back to their parents' house, and the parents took that money and then built 2 other houses, right? The authorities have a right to confiscate the houses that they bought with the money that they got from the daughter that she stole.
Yes, I understand that. I understand
So
that.
so you stop
because
short right there. You stop short on explaining the gain, the financial gain. You didn't explain that part, but there was a financial gain by the slave owners.
Yes, and that is recognized. The point I'm making is that here it is one slave owner. What they have done, I don't think we should be satisfied with it. I mean, the people can do much more to help us than £100,000. So, for example, these are journalists. At this stage, for example, our country is involved in tourism. That is another whole big discussion on its own, and the mentality and the whole economics behind it. But it would be far better for our country if, for example, she utilizes, she and her family, their energy and their time and the resources to promote our tourism, for example. Similarly, Ras has indicated, yes, university, hospital. The fundamental point I think we need to look at here is what we as a people are asking for. Because at this stage, they have said, okay, $100,000, £100,000. But what are we asking for?
Right.
What are we looking for? And that is where we have a problem with our people. We don't know what we want so that we can make ourselves independent.
Right.
And
okay.
that is where I have a problem.
I have the Ras respond. Ras, you heard his position on it.
Yeah, well, you know, I respect all ideas, and as I said, you see, consciousness. You're either conscious or you're unconscious. You can't be between conscious and unconscious. And consciousness is like an alarm clock. People wake up at different times. So you know, it's just for me, I've been awoken in my early teens. And my whole life have been about revolution. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I understand the struggle. I understand the miseducation. I understand the confusion. But I'm not mixing up apple and oranges.
True.
You understand? A crime have been committed, which the United Nations term to be crime against humanity. That's a major crime. When that crime referred to what happened with the Holocaust, Israel got reparation, and even today they get reparation. They say Germany, for instance, was the instigator of World War I and World War II. The West went and devastated Germany. Even them got restoration. They say Vietnam is communism and this and that, America went bomb up the place. They got restitution. Cambodia, the same thing. Laos, the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody get reparation. Because these guys, everywhere they go and plunder, they end up restoring. The only people that ain't getting restoration is us. And for those who say, we don't know what we want, it's a big joke. Everybody wants liberation. And to be liberated means you have to be free. You can't be dominated. Because when you have one race inferior or superior to the other, is war, brethren. There's no kind of joke with this. So you can't kind of cherry pick and say we don't know what we want. Of course we know what we want. We lived through the worst horror. And we still are wrong. You say we don't know what we want? We want what everybody wants. Freedom. You see what I'm saying? And as I was making reference, you know, about what I will even call a small gesture with the universities and the hospital and all that, I didn't mean that to quantify it. You can't quantify the cost of reparation. How could you quantify the genocide of a people, the plundering of a people, not just the people, the physical people, but their resources. And up to today, you're still doing the same thing. You're miseducating them. You're not teaching them about their royalty and their greatness. You're still trying to teach, you could talk down to them. Because that's all these people know. These people, they know nothing else. So whether they're Stravolian, or branch, or tree, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They all head in the same bag because they did this thing as a business, and they had the political machinery behind it. They had the religion machinery behind it. This is no joke business, brethren. And you're telling me what, the audacity to say now in 2023, black people don't know what they want? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you're right. I go back to the analogy that I made earlier. If someone break into your house and they steal your TV and your remote and your computer and your fridge and your remote, they don't get the option to choose what they're giving you back. Essentially, the conclusion was that was a crime against humanity. And some might say, well, it happened in a time that slavery was legal. It was legal. Nevertheless, they benefited in major way, and they left. We got independence, and we had to build from nothing, from dust, while all the resources, all the hard work from our ancestors went into building empires and castles in first world countries. The fact that we were able to take what we had from scratch, from nothing, from dust, and make it into something where we have proper education. I heard Jamaica, before Jamaica got independent, there was 60% of the population couldn't read or write. They had to reverse that within that period of time. They left the population wanting so many different things: education, no factories. What I think is a starting point to say what we want development, we want infrastructure, we want education, we want access to proper health care. And all of these things are part of the reason why we are third world, as they call us, third world countries, non-developed countries, countries on the way to develop, or far from developed countries. Look what's happening in Haiti and other countries. So from my point of view, someone would ask me, what do I want? I want development, and I want freedom for the race, for the people. In your words, you would say, we know what we want. Could you clarify it in your terms? Because this is my terms, what I want. What would you see as reparation, Ras? What do you want?
Listen, as I said, we have to rebuild our nations with a S.
Yeah.
And we cannot build our nations on apologies and lollipops and platitude and all that nonsense, all that sideshow. You know, as a brother in London say, you know, okay, open up, because what you have literally is ours. It's not yours because you stole it. So free it up. But they wouldn't do that. You know why? The egos won't help it, because it is in their nature to control and dominate. That's what they're about.
Right.
Hence the reason why they go to war, because you know why? They don't have the intellect to converse with each other. And look at how they're at each other's throats. So black people have to watch at what they do and not what they say. We can even tie up with what they say, but watch what they do. You understand? And when we talk about independent, we're not independent. We still swear allegiance to the monarchy.
Yeah.
You know, we have all these so-called MBE and sir and dame and all kind of foolishness. All that is money, that knights at the round table, trash.
Right.
We have to repel all of that. I remember recently in Jamaica, they had a huh?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
in Jamaica they had some kind of like a emblem with somebody have the foot on a black man's neck, and they storm out of that and they repel that. Give up the sir. and the MBE and the Dame and all that, show that shit back up in England. What's wrong with them? In this modern day, and you telling me, listen to me, ain't nobody handpicking my leadership. My leadership had to come out of struggle. Simple. Because if you ain't struggle, you ain't gonna know nothing. So all these so-called learned friends and all these so-called religious friends and all these things, more power to them. But they represent me.
Yeah. One of the problems that we have in the Caribbean is our constitution that was adopted, that was given to us, that was handed to us, right? And that is probably one of the source of the problem that keep us in that kind of even mental slavery and economical slavery. That constitution that was handed to us from England basically said to change elements of this constitution, you need a 2/3 majority, 67%, very, very difficult, right? You need to go to the people and get 67% in a referendum, right? And we all know that no individual political party garner the full support of that majority. One political party might have 58% at most, at best, 47% at best or so. So it means that to come together or to make any legitimate change, because you and I know that this was attempted before, where we attempted to change the Privy Council as the final court and make it a court of the one in St. Lucia. And that didn't happen because the people could not amass 67% of the total votes to change the constitution. So wouldn't you agree that the constitution that was handed into us, that was given to us, that we adapted, is part of the process that's keeping us enslaved today? Okay, there's a little delay on Ras part, but guys, we want
among other things, my brother. Among other things, one of my placards at the demonstration yesterday. Yeah, what I'm saying, one of the placards I had, right, was divide and rule is over substance over symbolism. You see what I'm saying? These guys, first of all, look at all these Caribbean islands, right? Dr. Eric Williams have a book, Capitalism and Slavery. Let me know if that is in the school curriculum for history anywhere in the Caribbean. I might be wrong, I don't know. But I know my mother had to a friend of ours as a publisher in Trinidad, took these two books. And look how long Dr. Eric Williams wrote that book. You see? Another thing, the trick bag with these folks is that they set policies conveniently so they could stay in charge. Even in America, every time the black man make a left, they jam him on the right. He moved to the right, they jam him on the left. They change policies, they go to everything is set up for them to stay in charge. They don't want us to be equal. They don't see us as equal. Even today, they see us as idiots. Oh, we don't know what we want. We divided. We this and all these so-called I'll call it highfalutin gibberish. We don't need that. Simple freedom, liberation. That's what it's about. And liberation could only mean one thing, freedom. And freedom could only mean one thing, liberation.
Yeah.
So let me stop. Let me stop dancing and Halloween and all them kind of foolishness.
All right, we got a call in the line. Let's take this call. Caller, you live? Hello?
Yes, good evening. I have a question for Preston Hollis, Mr. Hollis. Mr. Hollis, you said that, so obviously we appreciate that $100,000 by one individual, by one solitary individual, is certainly a drop in the bucket. That is one individual. I want to get your view on the idea that the other big players in the transatlantic slave trade, in colonialism and slavery, have not even as much as even broached the idea of coming forward to offer any kind of financial compensation. Of course, when we think about reparatory justice, it's not only about the transfer of technology and the repatriation of technology back to the Caribbean. It's about psychological healing for people who still continue to be traumatized as a result of colonialism and slavery. Reparations is not only about money. It's also about all of those other factors, all of those other material factors that have kept our people in poverty. Debt relief. There is this idea that we're focusing on this $100,000, but my question to you is, £100,000 from one solitary individual, why have you and others have not challenged the Catholic Church or the Anglican Church for their roles in colonialism and slavery? Why have not we challenged them to come forward? The Bank of England, schools and institutions that benefited from slavery in the United Kingdom. Why have we not challenged the royal family? Prince Charles was given the red carpet welcome in Grenada a couple of years ago. No one challenged him to pay reparations. His ancestors had an entire slave ship in his name, in his ancestors' name. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth I. No one has articulated that view. So while I agree with you, in respect of that family, that in respect of that one solitary individual and that large Trevelyan family is making that paltry donation, there are others who are bigger players in this enterprise as well, who raided the British treasury at the end of colonialism and slavery, including the churches that a lot of us attend. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yes, absolutely. Very good question, Kellan.
My brother, the name is Ras Dakarie, and just like, you like the doctor in front of your title, just please keep it Ras Dakarie, right? Keep it respectful. Now, as I said,
with respect, Ras Dakarie, yes, sir.
You spoke, my brother. You spoke, all right? So give me my chance now, okay? I have no problem with individual thoughts and what they think is important or not important. Okay? Let me just throw out something that you might not know. In 1969, I challenged Brother Ligori. You might not know that because you wasn't in them time there. But anyway, I challenged Brother Ligori to go back to Ireland and beat the kids with the cane without getting their side of the story and walk out of PBC. 15 years old. And next thing, my brother, in the day before Bishop came to Grenada, I was one of the youngsters around Grenville Street, giving the authorities hell on the block. You might not know that. You probably might have been around that time. So, my brother, please don't come judgmental and come with all this cherry picking, because I'm not about that. And my fight is not with you, because you are a descendant of slaves just like me. What we need to do is to use our platforms to enlighten those who might be still asleep. So what the Catholic Church want to do, and the Roman and the Bank of England, all of them, is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, because all of them is a bunch of thieves, to say it politely. You see what I'm saying? But what I know is that they've been charged with crime against humanity to our people. And there is a restitution that have to be paid. However, whatever term, whatever quantum, whatever it is, they have to pay it. And I don't care about which family, this and that. They all together, they all benefited, brother. And even today, they still have us divided with all kind of a foolishness. So, my brother, let's keep it. Let's be one family and know that we have one enemy, which is they call oppressor class.
Dr. Bob?
No, we agree. We agree on that. I'm not suggesting that our approaches are different. I think what is different is just our approaches in respect of how we challenge these people. I agree with you, and I'm glad to hear. I'm not pig-headed, as they say, to not admit where I I'm not aware of particular aspects of our history. We never stop learning. And I'm happy to hear you say that, because in many respects, I felt as if perhaps in the way that you were framed by local media in Grenada, it gave the impression that you were not also speaking about those other broader institutional organizations and institutions. And we do not have a disagreement in respect of reparative justice. So quite frankly, as you said, all of these colonizers should be held criminally accountable in the court that they set up, in the International Criminal Court. So we agree. We absolutely agree. And thank you for the history lesson on Brotherly Gore. But that's my contribution this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bob. We appreciate your input. And of course, you can check out Dr. Bob's program on Sundays. Thank you again. Ras, there's so much more that we could talk about in this reparation and development for islands and the way forward. But what do we do now? Let's set a path, if possible, your vision on a path forward from here. This family came, they made the donation of $100,000. They made an apology. Government of Grenada accepted the apology. I know you wasn't there. You was not a part of it. What's the next move from your perspective? What do we do next?
The first move is that our education department here in Grenada have to install immediately, like yesterday, like last year, Black studies, African studies. Let us get deep. Another thing, they have a statue of Mahatma Gandhi somewhere up in Sotesa, St. Patrick. Where's Marcus Garvey's statue? Malcolm X have Grenadian roots. Where's Malcolm X statue? You see, so what I'm saying, it starts with the schools. We need to teach the children, let the children learn. Bring Dr. Eric Williams' books in the school curriculum and any other people, because I could remember going to Sweden with WIPO, that's the World Intellectual Property Organization. They sent me around because copyright and intellectual property was one of my forte. They sent me there, and when I went up to Sweden, downstairs, 4 stories down, I went in one section of the library. I never knew they had so many books about my people, written by my people, and all that. They have all that hidden from us. So what they got to do is to pull off the mask. You understand what I'm saying? They got to pull the mask off, and I want our political leaders here in Grenada to institute African studies and real African studies, where we study, just as the brother in London talk about Lumumba and Sekou and all these guys, Antache Diop, Dr. Henry Clark, and the name go on, and all the revolutionary guys, real serious revolutionary guys, Kwame Nkrumah included. Well, the head of it have to be Marcus Garvey. And if we as people study the works of Marcus Garvey, that is a blueprint for liberation. Because Marcus Garvey is the daddy of it.
Yes.
And he did it not by talking, but he did it by action. We had too much of windbags, brethren. Too much of windbags. They have everything. Listen, they make it a mystery, right? They're trying to create a mystery. There's no mystery.
Right.
You understand? Everything is natural.
Are you willing to join the reparation committee or the reparation board? Because of the passion that you have for this, is that something that you might be interested in?
Brothers, listen to me. The reparation committee, they're doing their work. I have my work to do. I just not in agreement the way they're going about it, because my first thing is not apology. I don't believe in that. So we are at different center at a spectrum. You understand what I'm saying? Because as I say, you cannot be with the monarchy and talk about you leading some charge for my liberation. I'm sorry, sir. I I respectfully can't deal with that.
Right.
Because my thing come from revolution.
Right.
Not books and theories and all this kind of what we can do and all kind of things. Brethren, we are a mighty race. And it's there. We build sphinx, we do all kind of things. We have navigation, physics, alchemy, maths, everything, brethren.
Yeah.
We have it. We are the scholars. So what you telling me, man? Teach that to the kids and let the kids go, because let me tell you, if somebody know, because listen, the last thing that I want to say, look when the Chinese, right? The Chinese still celebrating 5,000, 6,000 years of Chinese culture and all kind of thing. What we celebrating? When we celebrate Shakespeare Mass instead of Marcus Garvey Mass, you know, the kind of nudity, you know, vulgarity, drunkenness. Come on, brethren. All that had to go. Because you can't be liberated and be dumb and stupid at the same time. You're either liberated and smart or you're dumb and stupid. There's no in between.
Everyone say that, you know, they love your passion for this, and it's probably be very useful in the way forward, charting this direction, this path for reparation. Whether I know you're not in support of the apology, and you have your damn right reason to not be. And I just think that all this passion is going to see how we could benefit as a people. All I know was when I got to the castle, and this is me after I spent 5 minutes. I spent 5 minutes inside of this castle where my ancestors was brutalized in the dungeons of Africa, and I felt every single minute of it. It was hot, it was sweaty, it was ridiculous, and I could feel. I cannot. I should say I cannot even start to think of how their ancestors felt going through this hot, congested, this ship that transported them and dropped them off in different parts. A lot of them did not survive. Millions died. And those who survived that worked on the plantation over this lengthy period of time, they worked without any pay, and their resources was then shipped to develop other countries. Your passion and my passion and Kellen Bob, Dr. Bob passion and everybody's passion is the same thing, to see how we could get our grandparents back pay. As a famous Calypsonian once said, we want our ancestors back pay. The way how we get there is we all need to come together and see what, because we still need to have an assessment as to what type of quantitative figure or what, in general sense. I know that there's no dollar amount we could put on it, but the quantitative figure of things that we might be requesting and asking for. So Doc, I'm sorry, not Doc, Ras, let's close it off right now. Your conclusion to all of this. Let's bind it and put it all together.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the forum, my brother. You're doing a great job. All the people who have their blogs and all that, what I need for them to do is to do the research, bring it out to the people, because only when a person is enlightened that they feel they get rid of that inferiority complex. Right now, most of our people have an inferiority complex of who they are. But once you know that you are a mighty person, nothing can stop you, because you're mighty, you're powerful, and God give you the gift to be free.
Yes.
So you're not a slave. So you have to forget about this slavery, forget about all this thing, and just deal with liberation. When you're liberated, you will find your way, because it's the light that shines from the power of knowledge is what sets you free.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ras. We really appreciate you, and we're gonna do this again. You know, we have to do this again. We have to do this
anytime, my brother. That's my job.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yes, guys. So that was very, very, you know, passionate Ras Dakarie. You know, it's funny. And I remember while I was in Ghana, and I had to meet with someone, and the miseducation or the divide and conquer education that was taught is that the folks in Ghana, the folks in Africa, they really don't trust us. And that's because they were taught not like we are somehow not to be believed, not to be trusted, not to even form any relations with. And somehow I realized, based on my engagement with my families and friends, we were taught not to go back to Africa. And as I said earlier, that was all a plan to divide and conquer. They don't trust us and we don't go back there. But could you imagine the strength that we'll have if we were to come together as one force? If that barrier were to be broken. From that perspective, I just wanted to share that unity is strength, right? I know a lot of people met with someone over a few weekends ago, and she was saying she's not African. Don't tell me nothing about Africa. I'm not from Africa. You don't even understand the history of our ancestors and why she is in fact African. Don't want to even understand, because the miseducation, the way how we were taught, we were never taught anything good about Africa. A lot of people still think that when you go to Africa, people still live in trees, and everybody live in, mud houses, and they're eating mud pie. In this day and age, they think that's how Africa is because of how we were taught. I think there need to be a re-education of our system so we to have a better appreciation and acceptance for the motherland. And while at that, I think a lot more has to be done. Now, I firmly believe that the $100,000 that was given is insufficient. But this is one particular instant that is the first. This is a first step. A lot might say it is not a big enough first step. It should have been more. You may be right. But I would love to see now the others that would follow suit. Like, as Dr. Bob said, the Church of the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Queen, the King, and all of these people who built mansions, who built empires on the backs of slaves. Yeah, on the backs of slaves. One of the biggest income earners, or one of the biggest expense in any business that you could have, is employees. Think about if you don't have to pay your employees, or you didn't pay your employees for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. You've never paid your employees. Think about how much money you will be able to amass. Think about how much money you'll be able to save after not paying your employees. That's what happened. You got free labor, and the funds, the finances was then sent to build empires in another place. What the reparation committee is saying, we want that back. We want our ancestors back pay. And I'm happy that it at least the conversation at least more of the conversation started right now, where we're seeing people coming back and making apology. Hopefully there'll be a floodgate of people who come next and build schools, build hospitals, make the healthcare system much better, right? Stop referring to us as third world countries, right? Because we'll have all the resources. It's an interesting conversation, guys. It's an interesting conversation. We need to have more of this conversation, no matter what. Even if people don't find it as a sexy topic, no matter if people don't think that is the best conversation to have, I think we need to have more of this conversation. Other platforms need to engage more and bring on historians so people can have a broader sense of understanding as to what happened during slavery. Thanks for watching, guys. We got a quick commercial break. I got some final words. Don't move. We'll be right back.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
And we do encourage you guys to play the game of the NLA. Even if you don't win, you are supporting nation building. Get your tickets. The jackpot, the lottery jackpot is $338,000. Keep in set of money, guys. Play the game of the NLA and you're supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Saturday, March 18th, it's time to report for duty as New Face Promotion presents Revo Dance 19.
Do you know what it means to have a revolution?
Revo Dance 19.
Here I come with love and not hate.
All taking place at 178 Newport Street, Brooklyn, New York. Get your $40 tickets now. More at the door. For ticket info, contact 347-304-5453. And you must be 21 and over. Music by Exterminator Sound. Live from Canada. From New York, Joe Bailey. Silence, No Apology, DJ Synergy, and DJ Hot Stepper. Table and bottle packages available. Dress code Army Green or camouflage. A special prize for the best dress, male or female. And listen, when you buy your ticket early, you can win a return ticket with JetBlue to Grenada in the month of May and June 2023. It's Revo Dance 19, Saturday, March 18, 178 Newport Street.
Established in 1998, Ross Road Funeral Services continues to assist you plan the ideal funeral or memorial service locally or internationally. Our reputation is built on providing personalized funeral services based on love and compassion. Call Ross Road Funeral Services at 718-547-0640.
Ross Road Funeral Services, where your loved one is our loved one.
Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc., providing exceptional carpet and cleaning, floor installation, refinishing, home renovations, drywall, painting, plastering, doors and moldings, electrical and plumbing, and much more. We are a one-stop shop for all your professional needs. Give us a call today on 718-221-5572. That is 718-221-5572. Or you can call our cell on 917-939-3192. Check out our sales on all services. We're located at 218 Schenectady Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Phillips Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc.
Again, guys, we got to say thank you guys for watching and supporting. A few things. Guys, if you are interested in bringing a section in Amazing Colors for Monday Night Mass, you're interested in bringing a section, 50 or more persons, you are asked to give us a call right here. Link up Amazing Colors, and you could have a section. Now, keep in mind that sections are very, very limited. Only, I think, 2 sections remaining that need to be filled. So if you're interested in bringing a section for Monday Night Mass in Grenada, you're advised to click that link or scan that QR code right there. Spice Mass launch. Yes, Spice Mass launch is April 20th, 2023. That's in New York. That's in Grenada. And there is also a Spice Mass Diaspora launch. I'll give you guys some more information on that. Now, if you want more information on the Spice Mass launch, or if you're going to be making your way down for Spice Mass Grenada Carnival 2023, scan this QR code or click that link. And I can't tell you enough about our trip to Dubai. Yeah, we're going to Dubai. Click that link for more information how you could be on your way with us right along to Dubai. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys again mañana. Tomorrow. Good night.